Coming in hard. Welcome to CEO Confessionals, business talk for entrepreneurs, real estate wholesalers, investors, and lenders. From beginners to rising starts to moguls. This is CEO Confessionals with Thomas Heil. CEOs confessing their highs and lows, telling you what it takes to be on top.
Hey guys, before we start, drop a like, follow, and subscribe. All right. Hey guys, welcome to CEO Confessionals. I'm Thomas Heil, and today's guest is Nick Perry, the executive chairman of Want to Sell Now. And Nick, it's great to having you back on, man.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here. I'm ready to answer some tough questions. I know you always bring the heat, so I'm going to do that back and hopefully bring everybody a lot of value.
Oh, absolutely, man. Nick, man. So it's a year now since we last talked. Big changes. So tell me about the changes that happened, man.
Yeah, everybody knows 2020 was a crazy year. If you don't adapt, you die, especially in, the way that, the economy is evolving and everything like that. So, we adapted in a few different ways that allowed us to thrive through, all the chaos. One of the major changes we made was, we were in the scale up mode in 2020. And what we did was realize, it's time to, rather than continue to add more people, add more overhead, let's figure out how we can maximize with our A players and dial into our systems and our marketing and get more output out of it. So, towards April, right in the heat of the pandemic, we had 18 or 19 people in the office. We brought it all the way down to our top 8 people. And you know what happened? Our expenses dropped significantly and our contracts and our profit margin went way up. So that was a big eye opener for me. Everybody thinks more leads, more people. That's going to solve your problems. And, we learned through experience that, you can do a lot of damage with the right people in the right marketing. So that was a huge, change for us in 2020. And we did some things with our team structure too. That was killer. So yeah, that was, something that I learned as a business owner going through the adversity of the pandemic was how to maximize what I have rather than just keep trying to throw logs onto the fire and hope we make a bigger fire.
Yeah. And that's one of the things, a lot of people think okay, if I throw more money to it, it will give me more results. In fact, that's not really true. It's I know myself, for example, I look at high performers. I'm assuming based on when you had a staff of 18 people and you cut down, you trimmed the fat. You got rid of all the lower performers. You kept the high performers that are also with the company that's very well engaged and also that just have a killer instinct. Would you say that?
Correct. Yeah. Because when you have B players on the team, what ends up happening is you lose a ton of money in opportunity costs because those deals that the A player would have gotten, the B player misses out on. And so you take that and extrapolate that over a course of a month or a year. You're talking hundreds of thousands and millions of dollars in lost opportunity that you could have made and brought into the company if those leads and marketing would have just been in the right hands in the first place.
So I'm a firm believer of up or out. Either you level out or you get out. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I want people that have growth mindsets and that are going to continue to build themselves and the company at the same time. So, if you're not growing as an individual and you're not growing within the company and you're just stagnating, typically that's a recipe for decline. You never see somebody, that just stays like this. Usually they're going to end up petering out on you at some point. So we're always doing mindset trainings and continuing to feed into our people through one-on-ones to make sure that we're fostering that growth mindset and that personal professional development on all angles, because that's super important in business.
So can you tell me a little bit more about that? Tell me a little bit more about the growth mindset and how you do your one-on-ones.
Yeah. So, for instance, we do our one-on-ones where my entire philosophy as a business owner is it's my job to make sure that all of my guys succeed, not only personally, but professionally. So I want them to have everything they ever wanted. So if I got top performer, and he wants to own a empire of rental companies, right? Well, it's my job as the business owner to make sure that he's making enough money, he's hitting those goals, because if he's not hitting the goals within my company, he's going to go somewhere else.
Yep.
Right. So my job is figure out exactly where they want to go and help build that roadmap and keep them accountable to where they want to go. So in our one-on-ones, a lot of times we're talking about what their personal and professional goals are, and how to get there, what accountability and action steps need to be taken, and what potential roadblocks are in the way, and just really helping and pouring into them. Obviously we're going over different deals and how we can get better in certain situations, but a lot of it's just pouring into them and making sure that they're leveling up as human beings, because the more that they level up, I'm a firm believer in, rising tide raises all ships.
Yep.
Right. So I'm huge in that. And we do a group training as well every week. It's called School of Greatness. And we'll feature, a celebrity, an entrepreneur, an actor. We'll take, just for example, we'll take like Ed Milet or Grant Cardone, and we'll feature one each week where we'll do like a 20-minute clip of their top 10 rules for success. We'll throw it up on the 70-inch flat screen, and everybody sits around the couch and grabs chairs, and we'll sit there and we have to write. I need detailed notes on the key takeaways from that video. Once that video's over, we'll get up and do an open discussion about all the key takeaways. And the goal of that training is we're doing this every single week. So you start to see trends among successful people. Doesn't matter if it's Ed Milet or P. Diddy or, George Clooney. All these people, there's common denominators in success. And so I'm training my guys to see those common denominators, and they're getting constantly fed, those successful attributes and embodying them more and more every single week, which is has been killer. All my guys love it. I was starting to run out of people for a while because we've been doing it for so long, and I stopped, and they were like, no, we got to keep doing it. So, now we're recycling some people and some different interviews, but it's been really good. So
are these guys in any industry, or is it athletes? Is there any particular
athletes? We'll do Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan, we'll do, Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, athletes, rappers, actors, anybody that's reached a pinnacle of success in their given field.
Yeah. You notice that every single one of them, there is a common denominator. So based on what you've seen, what are some of the common denominators?
Here's the biggest thing. You look at Arnold Schwarzenegger, you look at Ed Milet. Here's the common denominator among all of them, okay, is they all have a vision for themselves. And you look at Conor McGregor. He came from, absolutely nothing, the streets of Ireland, right? But he had this dream of being great, and nobody knew how he was going to get there. But he just kept working, and he kept his eyes up at what his vision and his goals were. And then he just grinded his way to it through all the adversity, through all the speed bumps, through all the rejection, and, literally getting punched in the mouth every day. Yeah. Right. And that's the same thing with you. Arnold Schwarzenegger came from a foreign country and didn't have a dime to his name when he got here. And he told himself, I want to be the #1 bodybuilder of all time. I want to be the highest paid actor of all time. I want to be a politician. He accomplished all of them because he knew what he wanted. He kept his eyes on what he wanted and did the necessary action to get there. And I've seen that. That's really a strong common denominator amongst high performers, billionaires, people that have reached, the pinnacle of success in whatever they're doing.
So awesome, man. In this industry, a lot of people talk about vision boards. Do you have your guys doing vision boards or anything like that?
I mean, I don't force them on vision boards, but yeah. we do make them get crystal clear with whatever their why is.
Okay.
Yeah. And so and that's one thing we're always drilling into is, what do you want? Like, for instance, my CEO, his goal was to retire his mom. Right. Yeah. His mom raised him, single mom, and he wanted to make sure his mom was squared away. And so he wanted to get his mom squared away, and he wanted nice cars, and he wanted to own some assets. So we've got him there. So now we're getting into the bigger stuff. So that's, but we need to know exactly what you want so we can help you get there.
So it's funny, like you're the business owner of the company. You've been a CEO for a long time. and now you're saying my CEO of this company. How did you get to the conclusion that, okay, I'm going to need to hire a CEO?
Well, I never hired my CEO. He's been with me. He started off bottom of the rung in the company and
Mm-hmm.
earned his stripes all the way up. He started as a cold caller, literally left a 6-figure job to come cold call,
Wow.
shitty leads for me, and then persevered through that, became an acquisition manager. As we brought on more acquisition managers, he took seniority and started building out that department, then
Uh-huh.
moved over and started working in dispositions and helped really build that department. And then from there, he was overseeing both sides, and he was a COO for a couple of years. And then it came to a certain point where he was, ready to be, promoted into taking over the company.
So what attributes did you find in him that made you decide, okay, you're a right man for the seat as a CEO?
Good judgment, work ethic, honesty, loyalty. Those are the big ones. I mean, he's naturally talented in multiple different ways when it comes to business, and not only in sales. He's good at sales, but he's also very organized, right? He's kind of the perfect mix of everything you'd want to see in, a leader of your company. But the biggest things is you need somebody that's going to be able to call the tough shots,
Mm-hmm.
right? And make good judgment calls and has a level head. Like we call him the Iceman, because
Yeah.
it doesn't matter how crazy the situation gets. He never gets too high and he never gets too low. So you need somebody like that that's going to, be a steady captain and be able to run your company.
So you mentioned he's a captain. Is it directly from the PI index?
From the PI index. Yep.
Okay, he's a captain.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So, and I'm assuming you've taken the PI index as well, a predictive index, that is. So where were you at?
I don't even know what my PI was. I think it was like Voyager or some Conquest or some shit like that. I know on my like DIS test and all the insights tests, I test super high red, and then like really high on my yellow, like my sociability. And then when it comes to organization and like being, socially conscious, like it doesn't even register on the math.
It's pretty amazing that you were able to do that, considering the accomplishments that you've done without that high of a level organization. Would you say your current CEO balanced you out on that side?
He balanced me out. He filled in a lot of the gaps. So, I'm a firm believer in, we can't all be good at everything. So lean into your strengths and find somebody that's going to complement your weaknesses. You're going to go further that way than trying to, be great in every, single area.
So do you feel like, you have to know enough to be dangerous in every aspect?
Exactly. I mean, I'm not a slob, you know what I mean? Like I keep tight books. Like, I know enough to be dangerous. Like I keep good KPIs. I'm on top of it, but it's just not my natural tendency, right? My natural tendency is to go. Let's get shit done. It's not, let's sit there and Excel spreadsheets all day. So, I still do. I mean, I it's something that I have to force myself to do though, right? It's not my natural, want. Some people, they love that. They can get in and really, dive into that kind of stuff. But to me, I'd rather clean the floors than do that.
So is your current CEO, is he able to do all that stuff as well?
He is. He's more analytical. So he's he's equally balanced on his blue, which is analytical, and his red, which is driver.
Okay.
Yep.
So we're talking about the red and blue. So how did you study? Did you actually study every single aspect of the personality as you started looking at your staff, as you start hiring people? Tell us a little bit process on how you hire people.
Yeah, I just told you I'm not analytical at all, so I didn't go in and study them. But I do like to see high D, high I on the because we're a sales organization essentially. So, we don't need a bunch of accountants and things like that. So I'm looking for people that have that. When we're looking for it in terms of sales, is we want people that have survived in commission only before in the past. we're not looking for sales reps that worked at, Halliburton or Dell or Facebook or, one of these large corporations. We want people that were, had previous experience knocking doors or selling used cars or doing hospitality where you're working for tips. Yeah. Those all tend to do well in our business style. But, one of the big things that we look for is we also like to see that people have work experience in high school, because that's a big indicator I've found of how people are going to end up being in the real world. If they had no high school experience, most of the people we're hiring are in their early 20s. Then they're coming into the workforce and they don't have that work ethic and drive, and they didn't have those shit jobs at Sonic and Wendy's and stuff like that. That I like seeing that kind of stuff in people's background, that they had really tough jobs in the past and they've been able to, overcome that and continue to level up in their life.
Okay. That's awesome, man. Let's circle back with your CEO. So your CEO, superstar, he's been with you for a long time. In that aspect, at what point did you realize, okay, I need to put this guy in this seat right now?
Yeah, I mean, there was times when I'd have to go for work conferences or vacations or whatever, and every time that I would leave, he was calling the shots, and so it just became apparent after a certain amount of time that it wouldn't be, I would leave and then come back and it would almost be like I was stealing the reins away from him. Yeah. Right. And so it just was a natural thing for him to be, promoted and taken into that role. It was never like a forced promotion or something that, hey, if we hit this, then you'll get here. It was just a very natural, organic, scale. His journey's been very organic throughout the entire process.
That's awesome, man. It's like, so you already knew he already started filling in the position while you were gone. And one of the firm beliefs I have is like, I always want to be the dumbest guy in the room. And I always look for talented people. And with that, it could be a talent in sales or it could be in operations, but I make sure that I'm not the best. When it comes down to your staff and your sales force, when you were the CEO, did you put yourself in the position where, okay, all these guys know a lot more than I do, they're better than I am, or were you like the best?
No, I mean, it's hard to find good talent, but I can tell you, there's guys in my organization that would kick my ass. If I try to step into their role, they would smoke me. Like, some of my acquisitions, I would not want to try to outsell them on the phone. And I'm damn good at sales. I can sell some shit. And I think I could beat them if I was back in practice, maybe. But we got some killers that, can lock up some deals. I listen to them every day and I'm like, damn, that guy's good. Right. And those are the kind of people you want on your team. I just was telling you, like, I'm not the best with, data analytics and spreadsheets and numbers. And we have guys that are 10 times better than I am at that. And thank God for them, because if we didn't have them, we'd probably end up falling apart. Right. Wow. So, that's you got to be blessed and with a good team. So, the thing I really learned this last year, especially as I reduced staff, was B players don't cut it in our business. Yeah, they end up costing you too much money. Your overhead goes nuts. It doesn't work. It's top talent only. So that's any guys out there, don't settle for half-assed talent.
Oh, I'm firmly a believer of that. It's like, it's also the drive that comes in. And one of the things about sales guys is like, they get very distracted. They go after the shiny job, or there have to be a lot of motivation. And this is something that, I've been looking at as a INTJ / strategist in my predictive index. I have an internal fire. I don't need external force to push me forward. Do you see that with sales guys? Is there any external affirmation to push them forward in your industry, or are they all driven from inside?
Yeah, it's all self-starter. So, I mean, we have quotas and stuff like that, but that's not a heavy thing. We're not like, hey, you're pacing X amount of dollars behind, our quarterly quota. Like, you need to pick it up. Those are rare conversations within our industry or within my company, because all of our guys are self-starters. They know what they need to do. We really don't have to sit there and babysit them. They're getting after it. I mean, our Monday morning meetings are pretty damn short because everybody knows what they got to do. We're not going to sit there and powwow about it. Let's just get it done. So
how did you get it to this point? Because I know there's definitely some growth that happened and you guys eventually settled into this position. How long did it take and how did you learn from that?
I mean, I've been at this for 7 years, working 80 hours a week straight, for the last 7 years straight. So, this has not been like an overnight success story. It took me a long time to get this dialed in, but, you continue to show up and you continue to learn every single day. I'm still doing that. It's not like I've arrived at a destination. I still feel like I'm just getting started and I'm always trying to learn and get better. How can we become better every single day? And I think if you carry that mindset, and you're going to have a lot of failures along the way, and you have to continue to take your failures, like a man or woman, and pick yourself up and learn from it and do it again. It's the entrepreneurial journey. So, yeah.
Awesome, man. So one of the reasons why I relaunched this podcast is to let people know about entrepreneurs. There are the highest and the highs and the lowest of the lows. Could you tell me a period of time when you had a low point as an entrepreneur?
Yeah, I mean, I lost all my possessions. Literally, I lost everything. So in 2016, I was, basically hit with common law. If you guys don't know what that is, basically if you date a girl in the state of Texas, you don't even have to be married. And you go try to break up with her, they can file a divorce paper on you. And that's what happened to me. And the only thing I was able to keep was my business. But in exchange for that, I lost my house, my cars, my clothes, pretty much all my money that I had saved at the time. And I had to start completely from ground zero. Right. And I just kept rocking and rolling, man. It sucked a lot. But
so you lost your house.
Yeah.
Your car.
Yep.
Your clothes.
Nothing, dude. I had to call my buddy and say, hey, can you pick me up? I need to go to Walmart and get a cell phone charger and some changes of clothes because I got shit to do tomorrow. And I had to start my life over.
And this is by court.
I was homeless. Yeah, and I was homeless, dude. And I was paying thousands and thousands of dollars a month for high-rise apartment that I couldn't even be in. Couldn't get any of my shit. It's pretty bad. So I mean, but it is what it is. Life's a bitch. It's unfair. You can't sit there and cry about it. You get up and do what you got to do. We're all grown ass people here. So
how did you feel at that moment? You got hit with the lawsuit. You got everything stripped away from you. Mm-hmm. You're homeless. Tell me a little bit about that incident.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a lot of chaos and uncertainty at the time, right? Yeah, I wasn't really sad. I was more just fuck, now I got to pick up all these pieces. I didn't know how I was going to rebuild. I didn't know exactly how much money I was going to have to forfeit. I was contemplating leaving the country because I didn't want them to take any more money from me. It was a whole mess. So it just was, probably 3 months of turmoil and chaos, just trying to get all the pieces back together and, get my finances back in order and get my life, squared back away. So, that's, I think there's one thing to be said about that though, is I never got down on myself in that period. I knew I was making the right decision, and yeah, it was unfair what happened to me, but, I just continued to put my best foot forward every single day. Yeah. I didn't miss a day of work. I didn't curl up under the covers and boo-hoo. I just, all right, well, what do I got to do next? What's the next step and the next step? And then before you know it, you start to get some momentum. And then, before long, you're back on the up and up.
And that's one thing a lot of people don't realize. as a person in life, there are ups and downs. It's how you react determines where you're going to go.
Right. Nobody's perfect, and we're not all gonna. It's not a straight line up, right?
Mhm.
We've had, you we're very blessed financially, but we've had bad quarters and things like that, and we've had to continue to get up and do the same thing I just went through. What do we do from here? How are we going to learn from this? Let's put one foot in front of the other, and let's continue to go. Let's continue to grind. Let's use this and learn from it and move forward.
So, how long were you in the business when this incident happened?
I started in 2014, and then this happened in 16. So, I was already going for 2 years.
So, and you've talked multiple times. It took you about 9 to 10 months to get your first deal.
It was 11 months.
11 months. I'm sorry. 11 months. And
Yep.
a number you'll never forget.
Yep.
Yeah. So then you're about a little over a year and some change in. And that's when
Rocking and rolling, man. Killing it. Got multi 6-figure sales job in Indeed. Got money coming in from wholesaling. Thinking I'm hot shit, and then boom, taking all away from you. God humbles you, and you just keep going from there.
So what did you learn from that incident right there, besides common law and all that mess?
Yeah, because I didn't know anything about that. I learned, that life, it can turn on a dime, right? Be thankful for every second that you have and what you have in your life, because you could wake up one morning and it could be gone, right? And that's a tough thing. So I'm grateful for everything that I have. I'm grateful for my family, for my team, and I don't take any of that stuff for granted. In addition, I just learned about being able to bounce back from failure, because I mean now, like, going through, when you go through horrible, like, life events like that, shit happens in business. You have a deal fall through, or an employee quit, or whatever. Where most people will be crying, to you it's just another day in the office.
Yeah,
that's nothing. So it's healthy to go through major life shakeups, because it's going to make you stronger in the future, and nobody wants to hear that. And I hope nobody has to go through horrible things, but just know that if something happens to you, when you come out the other side, you're going to be a better, stronger, more equipped human being, and you're going to go out and kill it.
So you would say one of the tips for people living in Texas: beware of common law.
Yeah, get a DocuSign before you can go on a Tinder date.
DocuSign on Tinder date. All right, that's awesome, man. So, what would you have done differently from, I would say, the first 2 years of before the incident and since you started?
Yeah, I would have just, I was screwing around, like just sitting there trying to like piecemeal together information from YouTube video to YouTube video, and it wasn't really until I got plugged in with like mentoring, and paid for access to individuals that had already accomplished it, that I started to take off. So I joined. I come from the school of Sean Terry. So once I got plugged in with Sean Terry, I really started getting my shit together, and I could have saved a year and a half of fumbling around if I would have just stopped being a cheap ass and paid the money and got into the masterminds, and it would have given me a lot of clarity and got me to where I needed to be faster.
And so masterminds really shortcut your learning curve in 7
Big
years.
time. I'm still in masterminds today.
Okay.
I'm in multiple masterminds. So, and they're worth every penny. I've spent over $500,000 on my education, and I've never regretted spending money on my self-education. Not once.
That's awesome. That's awesome. We met at Raphael's event.
Right.
And I do notice Raphael's training with Real Empire at the time catapulted a lot of people within our industry. If you look at it, a lot of the biggest players came from his event.
Yeah. I mean, he's a hell of you want to talk about an entrepreneur. He's a hell of an entrepreneur. I mean, he's not even doing real estate anymore, but he's doing great things in other industries. And you could see that in him. He's just a good entrepreneur, really solid operator. And there's a lot of respect for him. And I mean, his whole team is, solid.
And with Dillon's taking off. He's doing well. All the rest of the teammates, everyone that derived from that particular group, even like a lot of the students, they've taken off and continue growing. And that's one of the things I personally, took that mastermind, and I was a completely brand new. I was an owner finance guy coming into the wholesaling world. So I did a little bit more of a reverse project where I was a buyer going into wholesaling as opposed to a wholesaler becoming a buyer, flipper, whatever. And I found that very interesting. And when it came down to wholesaling, I really didn't get it. It's like, okay, just give me a deal. I didn't realize the psychology side about it when you're talking with people and home sellers, because it's a big sale. When you're doing business to business, it's very straightforward. It's about numbers.
Right.
And when it comes down to business to home seller, and I know you're no longer talking to a lot of the sellers, how did you learn? And also, how did you train your staff to do it?
Yeah. Whenever you're doing sales, it comes down to, everybody wants to talk about rapport and all that crap, but people don't really care until you show them value. So how are you going to show a motivated seller value? You're gonna show them that, hey, I'm looking to purchase a property right now. Just closed on one there in your area, building some familiarity and rapport with them. But then you're going to get into asking good questions, right? To really understand their situation. It's like the whole Jordan Belfort thing when they say, sell me this pen. Well, he'll tell you in his sales training that that whole sell me this pen crap is BS. At first, I need to ask you, Thomas, hey, are you in the market for a pen? And if you said, no, I'm not in the market for a pen, I'm not going to keep asking you questions to sell you this pen, right? So you need to find somebody that actually wants to sell their house. And then you can start asking more underlying questions and start peeling that onion back and do your best to help that person and build a solution that works for them.
And that's one thing I really don't understand. Some sales coach, they're like, okay, what about making this offer? Hey, he's not really motivated. Why are you wasting your time? Just move on.
Right.
And I think you're very direct, very straightforward when it comes down to, are you interested in selling?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're not going to, if somebody doesn't want to sell their house, you're not going to strong arm them into selling the freaking house.
Exactly. It makes no sense.
Right. Right.
And that's where I see some of these coaches personally. They're trying to like, dude, this guy's not motivated. Don't waste your time. Move to the next one. And Correct. It really is a numbers game. When it comes down to numbers games, marketing, tell us a little bit about your marketing, man.
Yeah. I mean, we're all digital, all online right now. I've spent hundreds of thousands of dollars in telecommunications. And right now, I mean, we just discontinued telecommunications, SMS, RVM, and cold calling just because we have so many leads. Our PPC is working so well. There's not really a reason for me to do telecommunications right now. Mm-hmm. So we're focused all on, the PPC and SEO.
Okay. Those are the only two.
That's it, man. Yep.
Do you have an agency or anywhere else that's managing, or is it you?
No, I mean, every time I've ever outsourced to an agency, I've always had to bring it back in-house. I've never been able to manage it up to my standards and been able to do it as good as I can. I would love to outsource that, but I've tried, 5 or 6 different agencies that are industry specific for what we do. And it's never panned out in my favor. So it's been something that, I still continue to do this day. It's still one of the responsibilities, even as the executive chairman, because I can't even get somebody on my team to do it. I could teach it to somebody, but there's a lot of counterintuitive judgment calls and things that nuances to running a successful PPC campaign that you only get from years of experience and spending your own hard-earned money.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I completely get you because I'm a data guy, and being a data scientist and understanding extreme amount of data, try and teach it to someone, dude. It would take you years. You just don't have the intuition, the intimate knowledge that it takes a long time to learn.
Right. Right.
I get it.
Right. Yep.
And PPC is exactly a direction I'm headed towards in the next few months. So any tips that you would give me as a guy that doesn't know anything about PPC?
Yeah. Keep that same mindset. It's all data, right? Because say you've got a keyword in there, sell my house fast, right? Well, the data is going to tell you if that's a good keyword or a bad keyword. So I have a rule, 25 clicks and no conversions, that keyword's getting paused. And the reason for that is because I've let keywords run for hundreds of clicks and things like that. And if it goes 25 clicks and 0 conversions, it will always be a low converting or a no converting keyword. So I just kill them when they get to 25 clicks. I don't care if the keyword makes the most sense. It's sell my house fast or we buy ugly houses. If the data is telling me it's not a good keyword, I'm not going to argue with data.
Yep. Data doesn't lie.
So, correct. Men lie, women lie, numbers don't lie. So if you keep that mentality when you're doing your PPC, you'll be very successful.
Yeah. And you've done RVM before.
Yep.
SMS.
Yep.
Cold calling.
Yep.
And those are one of the little bit more of an inexpensive marketing channel. So as a new person that's coming into the industry, what do you recommend is the best path for them?
I mean, if I was brand new, if you took everything away from me right now, what I would do, I would literally just get a freaking list, load it into, ZenCall or Mojo Dial or whatever freaking dialer you can afford or want. And I would put the damn headset on and I would sit there and I'd get cussed out all day. But you know what? I'd probably end up getting some good leads and I'd probably end up getting a deal within 2 to 3 days.
Okay.
So that's what I would do. Is cold calling.
And with that deal, what would you do? What would you reinvest into?
I would reinvest that into getting another cold caller, so I didn't have to sit on that triple line dialer. I could take just the warm leads, and I'd probably get a couple callers going. I might, because I've already spent the money to skip trace that data, I'm going to go ahead and probably get an RVM campaign going on it as well, because it's a super cheap way to pull out low hanging fruit from your list. And then I'm also going to go ahead and text all those mobiles as well. So I'm hitting that data and squeezing that list for all it's worth.
Okay. And once that's done, what's next?
I'm probably just going to keep buying some more lists and keep the deals going. But then eventually I want to get into online marketing, right? Either online marketing or some sort of inbound marketing where people are coming to me.
Okay.
Because with telecommunications, the problem with telecommunications is it's going to take you, probably 45 to 60 leads to get a deal on average. And with PPC, you're looking at 1 in 15.
Okay.
Give or take, right? So if you're 1 in 45 and I'm 1 in 15, then I'm going to be able to get to so many deals much faster because you're going to have to go through 30 more freaking leads than I am, follow up with, more leads. So everybody looks at what's the cost per lead? What's the cost per lead? What's the return on time?
Exactly.
Right. You want to start making a lot of money in a month. You got to be getting deals like this.
Yeah.
You can't be going through 45 freaking leads. It's very inefficient.
And
so, yeah.
Time. That's the key thing. A lot of people don't realize the things that you're always going to have in life, time is something that you'll never get back. And of course, taxes.
All right. Well, if you want to make a lot of money in a short period of time, don't waste a shitload of it having to get a deal. Go into a channel that you have a low cost per contract or a low lead to contract. So the lower the better, because then you might only have you can get it down from taking 2 days to get it. If it takes you 2 days to get a deal, you're going through SMS or whatever. With fucking PPC, it's going to take you 3 or 4 hours to get a deal, right?
Wow.
Now you go from locking up a deal every 2 or 3 days to locking up a deal every 2 or 3 hours.
Yeah.
So like in our office, we're locking up at least 2 or 3 contracts a day, like clockwork in there. We got 4 today.
Wow.
That's just a normal day. Is we don't have a fucking contract before lunch. I'm like, what the hell is going on?
So it's just normal for you guys to now got 3, 4, 5 contracts a day.
Correct. Yeah, it's usually 2 or 3 a day. I mean, we hit 5 in a day. We're like, fucking, we're rocking. But we don't have a huge team right now, and our margins are really good. So, I could scale that and continue to scale it. But my whole goal is to build it brick by perfect brick.
Mm-hmm.
I made the mistake of let's just add people, and like I told you at the beginning, that was a mistake. So I add one perfect person at a time. I'm not here trying to make this wholesaling is not going to be $1 billion industry. For me, it's a cash machine that allows me to invest in other areas.
So you're investing in other areas. You removed yourself from your former position as a CEO. Now you're the executive chair. Executive sale want to sell now.
Correct.
And with that, where is want to sell now going? What direction?
I mean, we're going to continue to. So we're building out a commercial department right now. We're actually building out a division that's partnered with a large developer there in Houston that's doing build to rent lots.
Okay.
And so, the average deal size on those is around $3 million gross, right? So even if we, split it with the developer, our average deal size on that's, $1.5 million a piece. So, we're getting into opportunities like that to where, we're going to be dealing with larger asset classes. So as our guys become more seasoned and proficient in their roles, they're going to move into larger asset classes where we can get much larger spreads.
Yes.
Right. So that's where we're going. We'll always keep the single family thing going. It's a good little cash machine, but eventually, I only want to be dealing with, things that are going to make 7 and 8 figures.
Oh, absolutely.
Hard to be a billionaire making $10,000 assignment fees.
Absolutely.
Not going to happen. Get real. If you're going to be a billionaire, you need to be pulling in, 10, 20, 30, 50, $100 million checks on the regular.
Yeah.
Period. So that's where we're moving in terms of the real estate. And then, I own a trucking company. I sit on, board of advisors for some software firms I'm invested in. I'm invested in commercial real estate syndications. So I'm always looking for smart places to be able to put my money long term.
It's amazing how your journey went from losing everything from a divorce, common law divorce, to where you are right now.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, I just I'm stubborn in a way. I think that's probably my biggest blessing, but probably my biggest curse too. You could ask my fiance. I'm very stubborn to where if I want something, I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna chase it down like a fucking honey badger, and I don't care how hard you hit me. I'm gonna keep coming at it. The only way that I will stop going after something that I want is I'd have to be dead or severely incapacitated.
Yeah,
to stop. So that's, I think, being tenacious like that is one of the top traits that's got me to where I am. Because like I told you, I'm not super organized. I barely made it through high school. So it's not like I'm, some super smart guy. I know enough. I know, but I'm not like naturally gifted. I'm just very, tenacious and, aggressive. And I just try to stay laser focused and put God first and continue to, get after it every single day.
I like to say you are a pretty smart guy, because for someone to dial in PPC that well, that's a skill. And there are a lot of guys that are data scientists. They haven't even dialed that in. And that is just amazing.
You can look smart and get good at anything if you're tenacious enough about it though.
Yeah.
Right. If you work hard enough at anything, you're going to get good at it and you're going to look really smart. but you don't know how many hours I've spent in my campaigns learning it, right? If you spent the amount of hours with your analytical mind, you would be past me, just straight up, right? So hard work, beats talent when talent doesn't work hard, right? It's that old saying.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely, man. Nick, I know you never said you don't have time for coaching. Now, seven-figure cartel. Tell me a little bit about it.
Yeah. So, I mean, my DMs were, I'm getting constant DMs, people wanting, help and mentorship and things like that. And I got to the point where I was charging $1,000 an hour to people to, jump on Zoom with me. And I wanted to be able to offer a better solution than that.
Yeah.
And so, rather than, trying to build this consulting thing, I just was like, you know what, I'm just going to put everything that I learned into a no fluff, just course that gives everything from A to Z, from the time we spend $1 in the business to the time we get $1 back in our bank account, right? And everything in between. So we break down our entire business model through every department. And, my goal is to shortcut everybody's learning curve, because I was stuck in that, what I call wholesaler purgatory for years, of the 2 to 5 deal a month range. And it took me, 2 or 3 years to kind of push through that barrier. And so that's who it's designed for, is, the person that's doing a couple deals a month. They know what they're doing, but they just feel like they're kind of hitting that ceiling. I've been there. I was there for 2 years. It's frustrating. And I was spending more money on crap that didn't work than stuff that did work. Yeah. Right. And so what I've done is I've gone through and, I show you all our software. I show you all of, we do an office tour, and then, give you all the access to all the documents and resources that we use in our business. I'm a business owner at the end of the day. So I'm just showing you what we do. And then what is the most impactful part of it is we had a bi-weekly mastermind where, say if you were in there, I'm holding you accountable to whatever your specific action item is to get you to where you want to go. And I'm opening up my Rolodex to you as well. Right. So say if you're like, yeah, you know what, I really need to get my website redone. All right, well, here's the guy I use. Call him. Right. So I'm giving you those resources so I can just get you to the good stuff and cut you to the front of the line as fast as possible. Because if I had, somebody that gave me that kind of attention, I think I would have been to where I needed to be 10 times faster. Yeah. So that's what it really is we're getting, the reason I called it the 7-figure cartel is because I want to take everybody in there and get them to 7 figures as quickly as possible. Because I know if I can do that, then it's gonna, it's just gonna build itself organically. So we're pouring everything we have into the members, and giving them access to stuff I don't think anybody's doing.
And with that, can you specify what kind of details are you going to go in? Are you going to talk about channels, marketing channels? Are you breaking down every side of your business systematically, how everything works?
Yeah, so we're going in depth into the weeds on PPC, SMS, RVM, direct mail, how it works, how everything flows together, right? We're going into acquisitions, our scripts, and how we live transfer from our junior acquisitions to our senior acquisitions, and what does the conversation look like for a junior, and when do they pass it to a senior, and when acquisition gets it locked up, how do they get a smooth transition over to dispositions, so everything cohesively flows and we don't have bottlenecks and issues, because we all know there's bottlenecks and issues, and if you don't figure this shit out and somebody just doesn't tell you how to do it, you're going to end up fumbling deals. Sellers are going to back out on you. You didn't set the right expectations with the buyer. Now they're running their mouth at the house in front of the seller. So we've been through all this stuff and we fixed it. So now it's just kind of my my honor to be able to give it back to the community.
So the guys that you recommend for this are guys that's in the business already. They're running somewhat decently, but they want to go to the next level, or is this for completely brand new beginners?
No, so the 7-figure cartel is for existing real estate entrepreneurs that already have a couple deals under their belt. They got to at least have some money to spend in marketing, right? I'm not going to sit there and tell you to put a headset in and start dialing people. We're going to do we're going to come out with what's called the 6-figure cartel very soon, and that's for the beginner, for the person that's at maybe 0 or a couple deals. And it's going to be a very thorough breakdown on what we went over earlier in the podcast. What would I do if you took it all away from me right now?
Yeah.
How would I build it back?
Yeah.
And it's going to be the blueprint on how to build to get to that 6-figure and then eventually graduate into that 7-figure cartel.
Yeah. So once you go into 7-figure, what about 8-figure cartel?
That's coming out as well. So we're there right now. So 8-figure cartel is going to be, kind of where I am, right?
Yeah.
Once you've got the business, you've delegated it, you've got a CEO in place. Now, how do you actually go and protect that money and that wealth and make it work for you? And, protect yourself from, tax liability and things like that. So you can, have that passive income and live that lifestyle that you want to live long-term. Because there's a lot of people that end up making 7 figures and getting close to the 8-figure club and then just losing it.
Okay. So to join the 7-figure and soon to be a 6-figure, how would they get to that point, and where would they find it? Our guests.
Yeah. So you can check me out on Instagram. The link's in my bio.
Okay.
6-figure and 8-figure cartel aren't out yet. 7-figure cartel, we just launched it. So it's brand new. We've already had our first mastermind call. It's been a huge success. So guys are already posting checks in the freaking Facebook group. It's been really powerful. So we got something special, and I'm excited. Excited to join, for other people to join. But again, it's not for everybody. It's only if you're doing deals and you're kind of ready to get out of that 1 to 5 deal a month range and actually break through and get to the 10, 20 plus deal a month range. So I feel very confident on getting people there quickly. So that's why I created that one first.
I'm very confident you will. Knowing you, that's will be primary ambition. But guys, just remember, Nick will provide you the way to go. It's really up to you. You have to choose if you want it bad enough. Like Nick, one of the things that you always say is like, you gotta have the dog in you. You gotta work
every day. Every day. I mean, it never stops. So let me just tell you that right now. Okay. A lot of people look at it like, hey, Nick's, must be living the life. I'm still a business owner. I still get punched in the mouth every single day. I still go through shit just like I did when I first started this business. Now my problems are different. I have bigger, probably I would say higher quality problems, but problems nonetheless. So I don't think there's ever that time you arrive, and that's a fallacy, I think, for a lot of people. So sorry to burst any of y'all's bubble out there that think, once you get to a certain point, it's all going to be sunshine and rainbows. You just don't wish for life to be easier, wish for you to be better.
And guys, I confirm that because I am a night owl. I work at night, and I see Nick's up at around 1 a.m., 2 a.m. working. So just remember, it's very simple to be successful, but it's not easy. So it's really up to you.
Yeah, it takes all that stuff we just talked about. So if you guys need anything, feel free to reach out to me. My Instagram is Nick Perry, REI. So I'm pretty good about that. I try to get back to everybody. So you can reach out to me there.
Nick, thanks for coming on, man. It was a pleasure, bro.
Yeah, man. Pleasure. Thanks for having me on.